And DD India correspondent Amrit Pal Singh joins us live from New Delhi. Amrit, the first reactions are coming in from Iran now. Help us decode the statement by the Iranian minister, Rakchi.
Well, Iranians accused US of breaching international law. Now, clearly signaling that, as far as the US attacking the US goes, that if you read the statement carefully, I think he's trying to de-escalate it. He's just saying that they have breached international law. But I think they would want to be seen as doing something because this is an affront to their sovereignty. The American bombers went right inside the Iranian airspace, hit their nuclear sites, 3 nuclear sites, which the Iranians had confirmed. Their atomic agency is yet to put out what sort of a damage it has been able to cause. And if there is any, radiation leak, etc., from those facilities, but they have acknowledged that their facilities have indeed been hit. The rhetoric is flying high in Tehran about, retaliating to this attack on the Iranian sites. So I think my sense is that they would do some kind of retaliation. Where will it be? Only time will tell, maybe 15 hours, 18 hours from now. Will it be the Strait of Hormuz? Will it be, bases in Bahrain or Oman, etc.? Or would it be hitting Israeli targets once again inside Israel? That remains to be seen. But I think they would be under pressure, and the IRGC would also be seen as retaliating to that. But my sense is there would be limited escalation before the world sort of bears upon them and tells both sides to get down to the table, which they will want to be seen as reluctantly going into it, kicking and fighting. But they will finally have to go into it because they do not have much option. They are no match to the combined American and Israeli might.
Also, Amrit, given that the targets have been nuclear enrichment sites, what are the real immediate risks around the area when such a strike takes place?
Nuclear radiation is one. Because this enrichment program had been going on, and these 3 sites are there. Nuclear radiation is one, and if you look at what Grossi is saying, or what Anthony Guterres is saying, there is concern in the international community about the fallout from this. We'll have to wait and see what the Iranians put out, what the independent UN nuclear watchdog's assessment is after they get data provided by the Iranians. So that is an immediate concern for Iran, for the international community. The other fallout could be if escalation takes place, the destabilization of West Asia, the region. If Strait of Hormuz, as I said, is attacked, 30% of the global supply chains of oil pass through that strait. Oil prices jumping up. The world is already dealing with one war in Europe. Can it afford another in West Asia? So all these concerns remain. So these are fallouts which would be of concern to Iran, to the region, to the regional players, to even us. We sit on the boundaries of the region, to the world at large. Shirendra.
Right. Amrit, also, if you could take us through the sequence of events, or whatever information is available at the moment, the manner in which these strikes were carried out by those specialized B-2 bombers and the bunker buster bombs.
Okay, so the B-2 bombers took off from California and from Missouri. They were mid-air refueled, 18,000 kilometers of flight, go right invade the Iranian airspace last night, dropped stealth bombers, the GBU-57 bunker busters, who go deep inside this facility at Fordo. Is said to be about 90 meters down, go down about 100 meters, carry out a blast, if Donald Trump is to be believed, completely obliterate the 3 sites of Natanz, Fordo, and Esfahan. That's what played out. And then, we saw Donald Trump confirming that first in a social media post, later in his remarks, televised remarks, along with his full force of the people who matter in his cabinet, J.D. Vance on his side, Rubio and Hegseth right behind him. Then Netanyahu goes on air, says, thanks to the United States of America. They call all kind of names to Iran, say they are a danger to the world, they are a bully in the Middle East, they are state sponsors of terror, etc. The Iranians have given a measured response, but at least in terms of their statements. But there are also voices emanating inside Tehran calling for retribution, saying that the media at least is reporting. And remember, the media there is controlled by the state. And as say in China, when Global Times speaks or Xinhua speaks, it's the Chinese state speaking. So it's the same for, say, Press TV or other Iranian outlets saying that every target is American target is now a legitimate target for us in the region, etc. So this is the sort of rhetoric which is escalating. We'll have to wait and watch what kind of a military response, if any, the Iranians give. The world would be working the phone lines, trying to reach Arakchi, trying to counsel them to look at some kind of to de-escalation and not take it up the escalatory ladder. The Americans would be speaking to the Russians, I'm sure. The Chinese would be approached. So all the players who matter in the game, the phone lines would be working behind the scenes.
Right. Amrit, just to understand the fallout of these developments in the region of West Asia, I mean, there is many experts, even ahead of these strikes, had pointed out a certain sense of deja vu in the way in which the Iran issue was being approached, that they've seen something similar earlier in Afghanistan or Iraq, where weapons of mass destruction were believed to be stored by America. America goes in, attacks, nothing is found, but those attacks take place. And something similar happens in Iran. There is a sense that there would be a nuclear bomb that would be developed and America goes after it, as it were, legitimacy by its own action. What could then be the fallout for the region from the past experience?
The region would destabilize. I mean, even if they are able, if Iran escalates, right now the Americans are saying they're not looking at a regime change. Basically, because at Kananaskis, Donald Trump was told off by the Europeans that, look, a regime change would lead to chaos. Now is not the time is not right for that. That's why you saw, Donald Trump make those kind of statements saying that, oh, we're not looking at a regime change, but if they don't come to the table, we can take Khamenei out whenever we want to, etc. But we don't want to do that, and they should come back to the table. Now they've struck because the Iranians were defiant. They said no talking to the Americans unless the Israelis stop it. So the Americans have put their whole political weight behind Israel. They were behind Israel all the while, but now they've basically, come to the forefront and used their military equipment to bomb Iran. So they've taken it to the next escalatory level. Now, if Iran reciprocates, retaliates in same measure or in the range of the same measure, then it surely escalates. As you rightly said, that what did they achieve by when they removed Saddam Hussein, or even Gaddafi for that matter, or bombed the Taliban out and installed regimes amenable to them, Hamid Karzai to Ghani. Finally, they had to sit at the table with the Taliban in Doha, and the Taliban are back in power. It creates instability in the region. It will create chaos in Iran. The Americans also realize it. Bibi Netanyahu would want that. Bibi Netanyahu stated purpose would be that he would want to be seen as a hero who took out his enemies in be it the Hezbollah leadership or be it the Hamas leadership. and if he's able to get Khamenei out, so he'll be able to present to his people that, look, I have decimated all enemies of Iran, of Israel. Apart from that, nobody gains from this. It leads to wider instability, a graver instability. Shubhendu.
Right. Amrit, are you learning of any more reactions coming in? We, of course, heard from the UN chief calling it a serious escalation. But have more reactions come in from Iran's allies or proxies in the region?
The reactions are a little muted right now. I think they are waiting to study what kind of a damage. The Chinese are yet to react. The Russians are yet to react. A former Prime Minister of Russia has spoken, but the present regime is yet to react. Europeans broadly are yet to react, but we've heard the Americans speak, both the Trump administration, but also senators and congressmen, some siding with Trump, some opposing him, saying that it's unconstitutional. He did not have the congressional assent to do so, and therefore it is unconstitutional. But that is domestic politics playing out. We have the UN nuclear watchdog chief expressing concern. We have the UN chief expressing concern. So the world is still waiting to see, what kind of damage has been caused and what are the fallouts. Is there any nuclear radiation, etc.? And we would see the reactions to that, because the West is in a bind. Because look at what they said in Kananaskis in that joint statement. They said, we stand by Iran not having a nuclear weapon. So what the Americans have done is exactly that, attack their uranium enrichment facilities, which they believe, despite Iran's denial that they're not working at a bomb, producing a bomb, but they are working at enriching uranium for civil purposes. But the Americans and the West believes otherwise. Though the UN IAEA inspectors have not confirmed anything to that effect. So the West is as I was saying, the West is in a bind to see how they react to this, because their stated position is that they don't want Iran to have the nuclear bomb or go on with its uranium enrichment. But they would also not want, as I said, a regime change. They would not want instability. They have augured for de-escalation. That's what the joint statement said at G7. So I think their calls, when come, that there'll be measured calls, but they would be waiting to see what comes out to give before they give their response. Shubhendu.
Amrit Pal, thank you for joining us with those updates.